Okay, welcome back to yet another live stream. A while ago I got sent an idea by Yoru, and that's the idea that I'm going to be working on in this session. And probably a couple other more collab streams are gonna happen this week if I finally catch up on everything else that I had to do. But this is what I want to start first. Probably not much that I will need to do here. The idea is like nice already. It's a little bit basic, but so let me just play it to you, but you will hear the idea very clear. So this is what he sent me, essentially. In stems, I'm just playing the whole track. So yeah, this will be the idea, and this is basically throughout. So one thing I already started putting here some ideas that I thought will probably be good. Or I tried out a couple of these acapellas, and I replaced the kick too, because I'm just gonna show it alone how it sounds, and there's no transients, and it's too mushy. Maybe this is going to be maybe this other kick will be a little bit going overboard on the idea, but I also want more transients and just more clarity to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, as it is right now, this is a little bit too tech housey, so I will again probably will look for another kick, but just so that I have the idea. And what I've tried with my subtle changes so far, something like this. Oh, sorry. Let me just. Oh, okay. So I'm not entirely sure if I will leave this sub bass as it is. I've already loaded up the usual sounds that I used, for example, in my By Now remix or Casual, or in countless other tracks at this point. So even if I don't add this sub, which is it's something I will decide on later, but this one for sure will be happening. And because it's a longer note than the other ones, I'm also going to add some filter automation here. Hey Graham, thanks for tuning in. Bro, how do I fix my beginner track? I will check it after stream, and I'll let you know if I have any ideas, because I just don't want to go outside of this right now. Thanks, man. So far, this is basically all Yoru. I'm just trying to add my flavorings and my ideas to it. Don't worry. I will check it out later. And if I forget for any reason, feel free to send me either a message on SoundCloud or Instagram. I will check it 100% for sure. Hey, Defy Gravity, what's up? So first of all, I want to bust these two sounds together, and again, I will see if this sub is if I will keep his audio file sub, or if I'm going to end up replacing it with mine. It probably won't matter all that much, but for the time being, so yeah, let me just bust all three together, just in case, so that I already have the processing going. Obviously I will need some side chaining to this cake, because otherwise it's very static. I'm going to switch to mine, because I just feel that this audio stem as it is right now lacks a little bit. Hey Levate, what's up? Lacks a little bit too many like sub frequencies, so it's just better if I use my own preset from Serum. But I'm gonna probably keep this same pattern, maybe some slight changes, like for example, just to keep it a little bit. Might not work. Yeah, but then this one has to go like this too. All right. And I think this one needs a little bit more edge, just a little bit. I don't want to go too overboard, but I'm going to try out a little bit of this this filter formant effects, which is from Serum FX. If you haven't downloaded the FX version of this plugin, if you buy Serum, there's this FX version which comes with it, as you can use as an insert. And like obviously, if you want to use these types of effects that are built in here, and like these formants are actually very good. So I'm sometimes trying these ones out. really working in this context. I'm gonna leave this plugin here just in case I end up changing my mind, or maybe I try it out prior to these effects. I think I like this, like this better. Tried out, and this one is another one. I'm gonna check both, and like probably we'll just end up using some bits from here and there instead of like, you know, any long takes. So it's more going to be like, you know, just a short phrase which is, you know, reverbed and delayed very heavily, so it's just taking up a lot of space, so there's no need to use a whole acapella, and it probably doesn't even fit this style to begin with. snake. Yeah, exactly. Probably the same throughout the whole track, right? Yes. So then I'm just gonna do it like this. Yeah, man, it's just basically a very chill style. I personally probably wouldn't make like this chill on my own ever. So, but like it's good. It's a good idea. So, yeah. Still use that original bass, but then I'm going to use this, or like so the point is that I can't really do a different MIDI here. Dun, dun. Sounds good, man. Sounds good, man. If you can pull that off. I mean, in my experience, it's usually not the greatest idea to, like, you know, try to combine like 10 different things at once. Like, but it's like if it works out for you, then it's obviously great. But what I this is again, it's just my experience. But whenever I tried combining more things into one, sometimes you can end up with something that gives you an idea for something, but in the end it's going to be like way too complicated if you want to just stack things on top of each other. At least that's what I found. So in theory it always sounds good that combining all these different influences and all these different vibes and ideas, but in practice it very rarely works out, at least in my own experience. Hey Charlie and Freak Pass, what's up? If in case you haven't checked our song with Freak Pass, Never, it's crossed 1 million streams on Spotify, and like I'm not even sure how many million at here on YouTube at this point, like 5, 6, I don't know. So yeah, if you haven't checked that one out, and also I have a video explaining that project, like roughly going through all the sounds and whatnot. So if you haven't checked these ones out, I would highly recommend to do so. This is a plugin that just went on sale for like $10 or something, and I bought it to try it out for $10. I was like, all right, sign me up. But so far I haven't got too much experience with it. I'm just like tweaking it and might not end up using it in the end. That's really just threw it on these vocal ideas because I wanted to actually test and listen to what these are doing really. Hey VLT, thanks for tuning in. Hey Callum, catch the stream again. Hello. Hi man. Happy you catched it now. Have you ever used the granulator before? I just want to make super weird and crazy sounds. Yeah. I think I might be wrong here, but I think Iris is also in the same category. I'm not sure if this is like a granulator synth by definition, but it has this this weird thing. Like I probably won't use it here, but like you can like select stuff here and like make whatnot. Honestly, I'm not really a sound designer myself, so I'm just twinkling through these presets and trying to like go from there. But yeah, I think I have other ones too, but yeah, for this project I probably won't end up using either one. Maybe if I need a synth replacement. I mean, yeah, but they could be good, for like a special type of like mostly texture type of sound design. I think they could be good. acapella idea that I pushed in, but this is probably going to be too low, so I think I'm gonna go with this Nobody But You type of sample. Hey Simon, thanks for tuning in. And also I worked on mixing of his track. If you haven't haven't checked that one out yet, then I think it's the previous live stream. I'm using sidechain on the sub bass. Use it a lot. Yes, sure. And I almost always sidechain like to the kick. I almost always sidechain with the Pro C2. If I want something more drastic, then I'm going for the where is it, the Empressor, because this also has this sidechain routing functionality. But this is for really for more drastic purposes. The C2 is, I like it because it's very transparent in what it does. It doesn't really generate all that many artifacts. It has a couple, and actually I can even show it what do these compressors do with the sound, but like it probably would be a little bit too complicated to go through these things right now. But just take my word for it that the C2 is kind of, if you use it on the clean setting, it's a fairly transparent tool for sidechaining, and I can actually show what it does. This is if I go like, this is obviously going overboard, but I'm just going to show the effect of what it's doing. And the shorter your attack is, the more of this clicky sound you're going to get, which is sometimes not great, but at the same time the slower your attack, the more precise the whole compression process is. So it's you know, it's a trade-off when you're sidechaining, because it's just what it is. You can always edit the audio later, so if you decide to go like with this type of attack, which obviously clicks a lot, then you can just bounce it into an audio file later and then manually fade out these little clicks and crackles. But I also, like, most of the time I think like around 20 milliseconds it's going to solve any truly audible clicks that you would have. Hey Alex, thanks for tuning in. I'm all fine, thanks. Hope you guys are all safe too and everything's fine. I think stuff is going to start to reopen soon, at least here in Hungary, so hopefully it'll all turn out okay. So at 20 milliseconds, for example, there's no more clicks, but like also you can play around with the release time. But like if I set this to like a moderate setting, it just decks out the right amount, if this makes sense, because what I want to happen is just so that it does not clash with the kick drum. That's the only thing I want. So when I listen raw, this is more than enough, and when I will listen in the context of the whole track, probably less will be even better, because then you especially in a track like this where there's tons of reverbs and it's not really about, you know, individual sound clarity, but the whole soundscape as a whole. You know, in these cases you can get away with less side chains and less clean stuff, because in the end what's going to matter is how it sounds together, everything. click sound. Yeah. All you need to do is adjust that attack, or like as I've said, what you can do. I'm gonna show it like real quick. So just gonna export a little stuff out of this here. Oh, fantastic! I can do this back. All right, it was roughly like this, right? So, somewhere like this. It was like. Okay, so. Okay, what I forgot is that when you bounce it like this into audio, so I would need to save it as a separate audio file because Logic can't process these sidechains as bouncing places. So I'm not going to show it right now, but in theory you can just, you know, where it clicks, like for example there's this thing, all you have to do is like in Logic that you put little fades in there, and the click is gone because it's like really short. It's just audible. But obviously I'm not going to do this right now. Yeah, and on this one I also already have the Pro War, which I've said I tried out a couple different reverbs, and usually nowadays this is my go-to reverb. Honestly, I have a couple of good ones with obviously only plugins. Where is it? This is one that I really like nowadays to use. This is an EMT emulation. It's very easy to go overboard with it, and it's not super easy to set it up in a transparent way, but it can be done, and when it's done it sounds really good. But like you have to twinkle around with the release times and whatnot. Like this is so much more easier to just, you know, do with these knobs to your liking, really. And also it also helps a lot that you have this reverb equalizer. It's also great stuff. So I'm just gonna try out these phrases instead of this nobody but you, and I don't know, I will check with Yoru what he thinks about these things. No worries, man. I can see I mean, it definitely has its own character with these Vox, so let's check that out. To do right now, sorry, I forgot to completely forgot to talk. So bass for my sub. Any compression plugins you can recommend, man? Yeah, like we'll do that in a second. I'm just gonna talk through what I did right now, and actually I'm gonna like actually show these compression plugins in action. So I just want to make sure that, because with zero effects, it doesn't sound like this on its own, but in the context of the whole track, it dies down a little bit too fast, so that it's like disappearing at the end of the phrase. And I just want it to be present a little bit longer. So something like this might even go overboard, but again, I'm listening alone instead of in context, so that's always going to be different. And this is the sidechain. In Logic, it's also worth noting that if I use a single on a single channel, like an audio on a software instrument track, if I use sidechain, it's always the last thing in my chain, unless I want something specifically to not triggered by the sidechain, because the later the further down it is, so it goes in this type of order, all the plugin processing. So I want everything to be sidechained. That's the whole point. But whenever I'm routing stuff to like buses like this, then in those places I have to put the first thing, the sidechains as the first things, because in Logic there's no input delay latency compensation with buses, which is like, I think is a stupid thing, but at the same time, what you're gonna do. So I try to, most often I'm trying to do all the sidechains on individual tracks because of this reason. Any compression plugins you can recommend? So I have a couple here. Like this is a transient shaper. This one is very good, to be honest. This is a plugin alliance plugin, and when it goes on sale, you can get it for $30. I think that's how I got mine. And this is obviously a bus compressor. So what that means is that this is basically again an emulation of the SSL G style compressor, and I just think that this even does a better job than the UAD. This is just my opinion, you know, as I'm using it. Like the best compressor, to be honest, I've ever heard, this is why I bought this plugin not too long ago, is like this compressor in this unit. But like this channel strip is even on sale, it's $150, so it's not super cheap. But like this is definitely, like, this is probably one of the greatest compressors I've ever heard and ever used. But as a standalone ones, like I like the Ozone Vintage compressor, which is also tries to be this type of 1176 type of compression. But as far as, like, you know, as far as digital compression goes, you know, you only need one compressor which you can use, and the C2 is a pretty neat all-around tool. So if you just want to buy one compressor, then this is my pick. Because with this one you can do many different things. But once you go into more detailed stuff and more precise emulation, what you want, then you can start going for others. Because, for example, if you set this to bus, this again will try to emulate the same thing as this one tries to do. In my opinion, this compressor does it a little bit better than this, but for most people you won't even notice the difference. So it's just, you know, if you're really going for precision. But any other ones, and so you need two, right? Because you need a single band compressor, which is good, and you need a multi-band, in my opinion at least. And for multi-band, I would all day every day would go for the C4. Even the so there's this FabFilter Pro MB, which is it's more versatile, but at the same time it just does not sound the same way as this one. Like the C4 just does the job better, you know, if that makes sense. You know, it's just much more, with less tweaking you get better results. So that's what I'm going for. This is why I would pick this over this one. But like with this one you can do more specialized effects. Like, for example, I use it as a de-esser a lot. So yeah, these are different animals, but for overall for solving problems, I think the C4 is better. For more creative purposes, the Pro MB is going to be better. But let's get back to the track. Viper, thanks man. This is still almost entirely Yoru's work, you know, except for this vocal and this thing. Otherwise, I'm just trying to shape it a little bit more better to my liking, you know. No worries, man. So once again, like, you know, my top pick is to like just, if you want to just have one tool which can do all jobs pretty good, that's the C2. And if you want more specialized tools for bus compression, I would recommend this one. Obviously, in the end, like, you know, for only really true emulations of like these ones, it's only from the UAD you can get these, and even these ones that are shipping with the Apollo are not as good as the ones you can buy. So, but you know, as far as electronic music production goes, these are not tools that you would use very often, you know, if this makes sense. So, and even if you get an idea what's like really good, you can always just send it over to a mixing engineer or a mastering engineer, and he's going to get it done much cheaper than how much you would need to spend on plugins, and at the same time you would also need to be able to use those plugins. So it's like CLA 76. So I don't have that one, but like as far as the 1176 goes, like you can, it can probably do a good result. I would much more inclined to use that on like vocals or stuff that where you want to preserve the transients, you know. If your percussions is so if you have this clicky type of percussions, it could be a good thing when you set the attack, like, you know, like fairly fast, but like not super fast that the transients are still clicking through, and the release also like a fairly fast setting. It can work very good, but I'm not aware of the CLA 76. I've only used this UAD so far, which ships with an Apollo, you know. But I tend not to overuse this plugin because it's just, again, I'm not saying it's not useful, because it's a good tool to have in your arsenal. Like all plugins are basically can be good for something, but for electronic music production, it's just there's just less opportunity to use these specialized ones, you know. I can see So once again, this is going to need heavy side chaining, because it's too tuk instead of like going this waving motion. That's what I want. Not perfectly on the grid, right? Something's up here. Once again, this is going to be, I think, the same throughout the whole track, right? So it's just... Oh, so I understand. You tried to do sidechaining, but there's a latency which haven't been compensated for. All right. Then I'm just gonna use these natural ones without sidechain. I'd use those here too. Easy as that. Of course. Also, I'm not a fan of this. That again, it fades out, you know, every bar. It's a little bit too static like this to me. But maybe it will be good in the end. I'm not sure. I can see. ultimately what's going to happen is that I will send Yoru a new MIDI for this bass line to bounce it out throughout this whole track, because like this again, it's a little bit static in the breakdown. Like I would want more movement. Like I'm just gonna try to like play around with it. So like something like something like that. So the thing is that it just shouldn't stay on this one note in my opinion. But for the time being, I'm gonna keep it like this. Alright. So I don't want any conflict. I just want these very very low frequencies to be present here too, because this one does not have them at all. Like there's nothing here, which could be a good thing. Like I'm not even sure if I will need them, but yeah, not sure. Also, I think this idea is good, but like the sound, I'm just not sure about the sound, you know. Blocked. Also, I just bought this Nexus 3, and I genuinely believe this sounds better than the Nexus 2. I think they messed around with the engine something. Let's see. This one in case I need it, but for the general sound I probably wouldn't use this one. variation to this one. Maybe let's also switch this one up. Instead. This is probably taking it to a little bit different direction, and excuse me for CPU issues, this is going to present even more, most likely. So far I like what I hear. Obviously I will need to perfectly, well, not just perfectly, but just better balance this one out while still kind of keeping this chill feel throughout the whole track, and it's basically done. So I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna stop the stream right now, and most likely tomorrow or possibly even later today, I don't know. I think it's gonna be tomorrow. I have a couple other collaboration stuffs if that's how you say it in English. So a couple other collaboration ideas that have been sent to me, and I'm just gonna work on those probably on stream too. So it's going to happen, I think, tomorrow, but at worst like somewhere this week. And then I'll have another couple ideas that are a little bit more complicated to work on. I'm not sure if those will be streamed or not. Like, not sure if you can hear my stomach, but I'm really getting hungry now. Yeah, so this is it for this track. You know, I'm just gonna, to say goodbye, I'm going to play through the whole track what I have here. Probably I will replace this hi-hat loop too with something else, but it's okay, but I think it can be better. Couldn't hit decide which vocal I'm gonna go with. Again, I'm just gonna check with Yoru what he thinks, and yeah, we'll see you the next time. Thanks for tuning in today, and stay safe, and hopefully things are going to turn out just fine.